Hi, my name is Bianca. Welcome to my channel if you are new here. I'm very excited because today I am starting a new series to tell stories of people who have survived, who have been teetering on the edge of death, but have found that will inside of them and that human strength that all of us have to survive. I just find these stories very inspirational and motivating, and I'm also going to be doing my makeup while telling these stories. It's just something for me to do, along with the fact that I love makeup, so why not? If you are interested in what I'm using on my face, everything will be listed in the description box below, so be sure to check that out if you are interested. And without further ado, I'm going to get into my first story. My first story is going to be about Matthew Gabriel Martinez, or better known as Gabe Martinez. And I actually know him. We went to middle school and high school together. Gabe is from Aurora, Colorado. I'm from Denver, Colorado. We went to Faith Christian Middle School, and he joined Faith Christian Middle School in the 7th grade. So Gabe was always one of those kids who was very positive. He was a lot of fun. A lot of people, knew him to be kind of like a goofball a little bit. He was super friendly, and he was a little bit of a bad boy. He had a little bit of a bad boy streak to him. In 2006, Gabe spent half of his junior year in high school at Faith Christian High School and then the other half at Warren Tech. This is where he met Kayla. And Kayla and him began dating, and they started really liking each other, and they started to get a little bit serious. At the same time, Gabe was heavily considering joining the military. Because of what happened in 9/11, Gabe felt very compelled to want to fight for his country and fight against a terrorist. Now, when you join the military, I know from experience, I was in the Army for 8 years, you go around to the different recruiters, a lot of people do, and kind of see and check out the different branches and see which branch that you think that you would best fit in, or really whichever recruiter sold you the best, right? So in this case, Gabe, because he wanted to fight the terrorists and really defend his country, the Marines seemed like the best fit for him. If you know anything about the Marines, they are the first to go on the front lines. Now, his job that he chose was combat engineer, and Gabe joined in 2007, right after we graduated high school. Class of 07, what? Just kidding. Anyways, Gabe had already spent 3 years in the Marines. He was really enjoying his time, and he had already gone on one deployment. In August of 2010, him and Kayla decided to get married. They had a beautiful wedding, and Gabe had already known he was subject to deploy in October of 2010, so 3 months after they got married. Gabe was 22 at the time, and they were deploying to the Helmand province of Afghanistan. Now, if you remember, this time the war was very heavy and it was very dangerous in Afghanistan and Iraq. They were in Afghanistan for about a month now, and they went outside of the base. They were on a mission to walk around a Humvee that was destroyed or broken down, and they were checking for bombs. Gabe was walking around the Humvee, and he stepped on an IED. He stepped on a bomb. A quote from him says that he remembers himself flying in the air, and he had somewhat of like a God moment, and God had asked him, "Gabe, do you want to live?" And he responded, "Yes, I want to live." And in that moment, he had found that will and that strength to survive. He came back to, and a medic rushed over and put a tourniquet on each leg. He had lost both of his legs. And the medic also was able to wrap his head because he was hit with some shrapnel. They were able to evacuate him. A helicopter was able to get him and rush him to the nearest hospital. Now, at the same time, one of his best friends, Justin Gartner, I hope I'm saying his name right, he also stepped on an IED and lost both of his legs. Another medic was able to also place a tourniquet on each leg, and same thing, he was on the same helicopter. Now, there's an amazing picture of Gabe and Justin kind of like holding each other's hands and being there for one another. A quote from Gabe saying that I was there for him and he was there for me, and holding hands with one another kind of was like a pain reliever. So I mean, that's just, I just could not imagine going through that yourself, but then alongside having your best friend go through the same thing. Once back in the States, a lot of reporters in Colorado heard about his story. A reporter had asked him how he was doing, and his response was, "Knowing that I have a second chance at life, there's no way I can complain about anything." Which I think is incredible, how positive that he's staying, and he realizes like how grateful he is to even be alive. When asked about how he feels about putting on prosthetics, his response was, "I'm not scared, I'm not worried, I'm more anxious to see how I'll walk with them." He said, "I might look like Bambi at birth, but it's going to be exciting." Again, I just like the positivity, and the fact that he says, you know, he's excited to get prosthetics on is just, it's just so crazy to me. Now, before he left the hospital, he had to undergo several surgeries, and he had to get his prosthetics on and basically teach himself how to walk again. He was very optimistic throughout the entire thing. Once released from the hospital, Kayla and him moved to California, where they began their new life. I just remember seeing photos of him on Facebook, of him rock climbing, him on a motorcycle, him running, I mean skiing. It was incredible. It's like when he said that he was excited to get those prosthetics on, he was not lying. He was going for it. He was not afraid, and he did not let this stop him from living his best life. Like, for real. Like, he just said, "Okay, I don't have legs, no problem." I find that so inspirational. I mean, shoot, I don't even rock climb and I have legs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's doing things that like I'm not even courageous enough to do with legs. So I just think that's just so inspiring, like I said, and very motivating. Else that I wanted to mention is that his wife Kayla, she was working on her bachelor's degree when Gabe was injured. And in 2011, she received her bachelor's degree. So therefore, she was finishing her last year of school when Gabe was injured. I mean, to me, that's also incredible for her to finish school and finish what she started. Although now she is supporting Gabe so much physically, mentally, that to me is just a huge testament of her strength as a woman, as a partner. I mean, I just think that that definitely needs to be recognized as well, because that in itself is just amazing. Once in California, they began to start a family. They had their first daughter named Madeline, and then a few years later they had their second daughter named Macy. After the Boston Marathon bombings, Gabe reached out to an organization so that he could take some volunteers with him and go and support those people who were injured in the bombing. He really just wanted to be a beacon and a light for them of support, and let them know that their life doesn't need to stop with their injury, and anything that they needed, you know, just support them and be there for them. He was at first just going to go for the first year, but he decided to continue this year after year. Gabe remains very active in the Semper Fi community. Semper Fi is Marines, if you didn't know. They have a saying, "Once a Marine, always a Marine." His neighbors say that Gabe is very helpful. He remains to be very positive and have a very positive outlook on life. Gabe likes to be very active in his community and help out wherever he can. I think that's just in his innate nature, you know, to be there for people and help them out wherever he can. So a little update on them now. They live in Parker, Colorado, and Kayla is a portrait photographer. If you are looking for some good portraits of you or a family member or a friend, then I will leave her information and her link to her website down below in the description box. And Gabe, he is working for Homeland Security. So he is doing state and federal cases, mostly having to do with sexual assault with children. So I imagine that that is a pretty heavy-hearted type of role, and in order to kind of escape from that, he likes to spend time on his ranch. They have a ranch in Parker, they have horses, they have ATVs, so he enjoys his time doing that and taking care of the animals, and he loves spending time with his family, of course, and working out. I forgot to mention as well that he did receive a Purple Heart, which is the highest award that you can receive in the military. Obviously well deserved. I first of all want to say a huge thank you to Gabe for allowing me to use your story as my first in this series. And I chose the story of Gabe because I feel like he is the prime example of what it means to look on the brighter side of things and to never give up and to not allow life, you know, life's hurdles to get you down. I know that some of us may deal with depression and anxiety, and there are some things that are very difficult in life. You know, life's like a roller coaster. We can go up and down, and it sometimes feels like when it's really bad, it's so hard to look on the positive side. But I think if we can try to look and find at least one positive thing in a bad situation, then we'll be so much better off. I think it's important also to remember that it's not really what is happening to you that's most important. It's how you react to that situation. And I think Gabe, like I said, is a prime example of that. Something horrendous happened to him and he took that and said, oh, okay, challenge accepted. And you know, he is living his amazing, beautiful life. So I hope that we can all take a page out of his book. I hope that you are inspired by this story as I am. And if you did, please give me a like and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye! Do you even know what you're trying to say? Do you even know what you're trying to say? Oh, let me put a little bit of highlight on my décolletage. Ooh, collarbones be poppin'. Because of jobs, the hell, and a medic ran over. Oh my God, seriously.